Okay, we're on to the back. We're getting somewhere, guys. Almost there. Okay. This video is very long, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So now we're on the second part. We have number 8. So it says find the exact function value. Do not use a calculator. Always do this when you're on the test. Make it known to yourself. Highlight, make it known to yourself what the instructions are asking you. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. And so for here, see how it says, so anytime it says do not use a calculator, assume you're using your unit circle. Just automatically assume you're going to have to use your unit circle. So for this, do you remember I would instantly draw out this, which we've learned in class, so you should know how to do this by now. If not, I will explain it really quickly. So this is all. This is sine and cosecant as its like other thing for under it. The next one down here is tangent, and it's like its opposite is cotangent. And then we have cosine, which the opposite of that is secant. And by the way, anything that's on this board right now is going to be positive in its sections. So let's say you're in the sine over here. Everything else but sine and cosecant is negative in this area of the box. So like if you're drawing like a graph, everything in this area except for sine and cosecant is negative, okay? So that's what it's saying when you're looking at this. So like, let's say we say all, then all of it's positive. Every single cosine, sine, tangent, everything, if you're in the all section, is going to be positive. And vice versa for tangent and cosecant. If you need me to explain that more, come to me and find me and I will explain it to you better in person. So next we're going to look at here. Instantly, when you are looking at something like this, I'm telling you right now, see how it says cosecant? Instantly above it, write sine. I'm saying this and you'll see why when I use the calculator. So basically, you're going to start with sine and type it into the calculator like that and then change it to cosecant. But in this case, you don't need to do that because you're using your unit circle. So because it's going from cosecant to sine, which I look at my reference too, it helps a little bit. But because you're going from sine to cosecant, on here, you're using your unit circle. You're going to look for the sine of pi over 3, which remember, if you have to, make it known to yourself tonight when you're studying that sine is always your y value and cosine is always your x value. And then obviously your cosecant is the opposite of your sine. So like if it says square root of 3 over 2, it's going to be 2 over square root of 3. So you just flip it. And same with cosecant. Let's say it says, instead of cosecant, it says secant. You're trying to find the secant, it would be 2 over 1 instead of 1 over 2 as your answer. So in this case, because we're looking for pi over 3 is right here on this. And you have to find the sine of pi over 3. So here's the sine. We already found it. But remember, I mentioned to look for the sine first because it makes it easier. Now, you see how it's actually asking you for the cosecant? All you do is just flip your sign around. So it's going to be 2 over square root of 3 as your answer. 2 over square root of 3. And that's your final answer for that. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Anytime it says don't use a calculator, just assume you're using your unit circle. Okay. Now we're on the tangent part, which these can be a little confusing, so you got to take your time on these parts, okay? Because you will get lost, and we're still not using a calculator for all of these. You're using your unit circle. So the first thing I would do is anytime you see these like this, if it says sine or tangent at all, instantly assume that you're going to make it a negative tangent with a square root of 5 over 6. So you're going to write it like this. So like example, if this said sine instead, it's literally going to be the exact same thing, but you have sine instead of tangent and then 5 pi over 6. The only time this is different is if, let's say this said cosecant, right? And it said cosecant of negative 5 over pi over 6, it would just be cosecant 5 pi over 6. So when you're working with tangents, you just put the negative behind and kind of find it on the unit circle the opposite way. With cosecant, if it's a negative, you change it to a positive. If it's a positive, change it to a negative. I can explain, you'll understand that more as I'm showing you how to solve it. If you don't, again, come find me or Miss Beasley, and she can explain it better to you than I would. But that's what I easily do with it. So now we go back to writing negative tangent 5 pi over 6. This is basically just getting rid of the negative out of there and putting it outside the tangent. But this is very important. So Now we have to get our unit circle out, which I need you to see as best as possible. So I'm going to zoom out. Hopefully you can see this well. If not, we're just going to have to work with what we got. There we go. Okay. So you know how it said tangent 5 pi over 6. But you know how it was a negative at first and I moved the negative over to this? What it means by that is, let's say I'm looking for 5 pi over 6. It's right here, right? No, you're not going this way because it is going to be a negative. It was negative. You're looking for this. So see, it's 150 degrees, but you're going the opposite way. So you're basically, I would just count like this, like follow how many you go over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Count over here. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You end up on 225 degrees, right? But we are looking for the tangent of this, right? So you're going to, well, actually, I wouldn't count that because it's not necessarily correct. What I would do is I would do, where you do like over here, see how it says 30? So you're at 0 and you're just like, 30. I would just do 30 and then 45, 60, 90, follow it over that you know this is 90, so you don't even have to worry about counting that. And then just be 120, 135, 150. So it is here. It's on this one though. So it's on this line instead, actually. I looked at that wrong. It's not your 225. You make sure you're looking at the line, because see how I made a mistake easily? So look at the line you end up on and it matches up. See how it's on this line when it's talking about the 5 pi over 6? Make sure you follow that. So it ends up on here, and your tangent for that is 1 over square root of 3, right? Well, it is 1 over square root of 3, so then you're going to go over to your paper, and that is your answer. Your answer is 1 over square root of 3. And if for some reason you have a negative sign, just know that, see how this is a negative and a negative? They're both were negatives. It has to be a positive. Your answer has to be a positive in this situation, okay? Now we're on to the next part. So number 10, it says the sine of 780. This is very easy. All you do is take the 780 degrees and subtract 360. I'm saying this because see the circle? If you go around it once, it's 360. If you go around it again, it's like 420. And if you keep going around, you'll eventually get to your 780. So let's just try that on the calculator. I'm going to bring the calculator forward, and we're just going to kind of work with it and just show you how I do that. So I'm going to do 780, which is what the degrees we started off with, and just subtract 360. Now it's giving us to 420. So that's one time around the circle. Then subtract 360 again. Now we're at 60. So now you know that you have to go around the circle twice. So when you're doing this, you got to go like this. I'm going to just use my pencil to show you. You're going to go around it once. You're going to go around it twice, and you're going to go to 60. This line is equaling to 60. Now you're looking here, and it said the sine. Remember that. It said sine of 780. So when you're looking on here, you're looking for the sine of 780 degrees, which this is 780 if you go around twice. And the sine is square root of 3 over 2. And that's your final answer, square root of 3 over 2. That's the easiest one you'll probably have on the test. Okay, next one is challenging. I know you're scared from looking at this because it's a lot to interpret. But what I'm going to recommend for this is cover up the other equation. Literally look at the first one. It's just like these. Solve it first and then do that one and then add them together at the end to get your final answer. So for this one, you're going to go to your graph, your unit circle, and you're going to just look, ignore this part, cover your finger over it. You're just looking for the cosine of 270. So we're going to go to our unit circle and look for just 270 degrees. So if you go here, you'll find it. He's giving you this as an example. The tangents won't be on there though, so you have to know your tangents for this test, okay? Or find somewhere to write it, or just try your best, because if you do y divided by x, you'll get your tangent either way. So if you can do that, you're fine. But I would just automatically just write out your tangents right when you get on the test so that you don't have to worry about that, and it's easier for you to answer the questions. Okay, we're back to it. So it said cosine of 270. Imagine that's not there. Cosine of 270. So on here, 270, here we are. The cosine is your x, so it's 0. What you're going to do is you're going to write the 0 above that part, like this, because you were avoiding this part. So now we know that's 0. Then do plus, add the plus sign so you know. And then now you're looking for the sine of negative 180, but remember what I told you, come over here and kind of make it known that it's negative sine of 180. Write it out like this, and when you're looking on here, all that means is that instead of you going this way, you're going this way with it. So we're looking for negative 180. I would just do this. I would do 30, 60, or 30, 45, 60, 90. You can automatically know where 90 is, so you don't have to do that up until 90. And then now you're going to do 240. Oh, wait, 90. Sorry, 90, 120, 135. I'm looking at these, by the way, as I'm saying these. So 120, it's because I made it to the same area. 135, and then 150. Here we are. 180 is lined up at the same, and they're both 180, like lines up at the same, so it doesn't really matter in this one. I would just recommend knowing that because equations equal different things depending on if it's negative or positive. So here we are, and now it's asking you for the sine of that. So sine is going to be 0, so this is 0 as well. And then all you do is this, 0 plus 0 is 0. That is your final answer for this area. Now we are done with these. We made it through this, guys, almost to the end. Okay. Next part, here we go. We're getting there. Okay. Now we have this. Use your calculator. He's going to make it known when you use your calculator, or it will say approximations. If it's bolded and it says approximations, use the calculator because he wants an exact answer. And then it says round to 2 decimal places. Okay? So now we know that. Now we're going to need the calculator for this section. So automatically, we're going to just look at number 12. And it says the tangent of 115 degrees. Remember that, degrees. Instantly, before you even do anything with this equation, I'm telling you right now, what I've been saying, go to your mode, make sure it's in degrees, which luckily right here, it's already, see how it's high, like it's like black under it? It means we're already in it, but if you feel nervous about that, just go on down and just click enter, double check it to make sure it's in degrees. And now we're ready. And then, so it says tangent of 115 degrees. So all you're going to do for this is convenient. All you do is click tangent. We're already in degrees, so you're just going to put 115. You don't have to put the degree symbol. You just put the parentheses. Don't forget to put the parentheses on both sides. Which, when you're filling it out, watch this. It already puts your first parenthesis on one side in. You just have to type in your answer and then put the other symbol to it. And just click enter. And see how it's a negative? I thought at first it was wrong. That is correct. And then remember on your paper how it said round to 2 decimal places? Instantly, this is your answer, negative 2.14. The only time you're going to round this up is if, let's say this one behind it is a 5 instead of a 4, then this one would boost up to a 5. So it'd be negative 2.15 instead of 1.4. But in this case, it's a 4. Anything 4 and under stays, this will stay. If it's 5 or above, this will boost up. So your answer is going to be negative 2.14, and that's it. 2 decimal places over, so you're going to do negative 2.14. In this situation, on your paper, it doesn't say that you're changing it 2 degrees at all. So because it doesn't say change it 2 degrees, this is your final answer. It's in radian form. And it showed you degrees, so you're just kind of guessing on this situation that there would not be a symbol, so you're not going to write a degree symbol. Leave it as it is. It's in radian form now. Okay, now this part. This can be a little bit difficult to remember, but just get it in your head. So we got the cosecant, right? What did I tell you to do? Instantly change it. I'm going to give you a second to think about it. Get it in your head. Say what you want to say about it. Okay, now that you got it in your head, hopefully, at this point, instantly when you see the cosecant, right, the opposite of cosecant is going to be, draw this out. Remember, all students talk crazy. A, S, which is sine. This just means all are positive. The sine and cosecant are only positive in this part of the graph. And then tangent and cotangent are positive over here. And cosine is going to be, and secant are going to be positive in this section. So the cosecant is the same as the sine, so it's positive. So now you're going to write your sine, because the sine is the cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So write sine, because in your calculator, when you're in your calculator, this, see how it's in radian form? It doesn't have a degree symbol, it's in radian form. If it doesn't have a degree symbol on it in the example, it's going to automatically be mode of degreed. degree. So you're going to change your degree, or you're going to change from degree to radian. Make sure you do that instantly. We don't want to make a mistake with that. And click clear. You're in radian mode now. Now, you're just going to click sine. You're going to type in pi, which is the second button, and then the arrow up, divided by 180, and then add the parenthesis. You got to fill it out. Now you're going to click enter. You're not done yet, though. This is not your final answer, okay? Now, after we did that, oh, I said 180. Make sure you don't make that mistake. See how I said 180? I'm used to doing that. Don't make that mistake. It did not say that. So I'm going to click del and go. I'm just going to clear it. So sine, it said pi over 8. Don't make that mistake. It said pi. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, it said pi over 8. Do not make that mistake. So now we have sine. So it's sine. And then pi, which I made the mistake. See, it's good to look back at what you're doing. Divided by 8. And then put the parenthesis on the outside. And click enter. Okay, you get this answer. That sounds more right. When you get this answer, you are not done. Do not finish and write that as your answer. You hear me? Do not finish. This is in sine. It's asking for the cosecant. So because it's asking for the cosecant, you come down here on your calculator and you see this x negative 1. That is the reciprocal. So you're just going to click that. And it's going to show up like this. Once you do that, you just click that button. After you click enter with your sign and everything, this pops up, and then you just click x minus 1 and click enter. This is your final answer, and it says round to 2 decimal places. So it's 2.61 as your final answer, because the 3 is not higher than 5, and so the 1 will stay as it is. 2.61 is your final answer. And there's no degree symbol or anything because it's in radian form. So leave it as it is. That's your final answer, okay? Now, moving on to the next part. And I'll double check with this, by the way, to make sure, because it does seem like it would be degrees. So I'll double check to make sure that you have to, if you're supposed to include it on that, because what I've been saying wouldn't make sense with that. So I'm going to just add the degree symbol, but I will come back to you on that because I'm not sure. So I'm going to check his answer sheet online, and then I'll get back to you on that. Okay, now we're on to the next part, guys. We're getting there. We're on the last part of this whole thing. Okay, this is the hardest for most people to understand, and I'm just going to make it as easy as possible to understand, okay? So here we go. We're just going to get it over with together. So, see how it says cotangent of, I'm going to get it right. There we go. If I can make you guys see it. There we go. Okay. See how it says cotangent of pi over 4 over 3. Don't even read this yet. Literally, you see how I went straight into reading it? Don't do that. Instantly draw this symbol and write all sine with the cosecant, and then tangent, all students talk, cotangent, crazy, that's how you remember that, and then secant, the opposite. And by now you should know this. If you don't, I'm a little worried, but hey, it's okay. We can work together with that. Okay, this is important because for this step you have to know this. Because, okay, see how it's saying cotangent? And see how there's no negative sign in front of this 4 over 3? You're instantly knowing in this situation that your cotangent is positive because there's no negative sign here. If it was like this, if it showed cotangent of theta equals negative 4 over 3, if that was there, instantly on the test, circle that negative, and you'll know that the cotangent has to be negative, so it can't be in this box that you're drawing your map in, or your sketch in. So now we already know in this situation, because this is different, I wouldn't worry about that for this. So it's positive, right? So now we know that the cotangent is positive here, and it's also positive here. Because in both of these boxes, the only thing that is positive is the sine and cosecant and secant. So you have canceled those two boxes out. Now we're looking over here. The easiest way I explain this, if you struggle with your less than and greater than signs, is hold out your hand. My dominant hand is my right hand. Here, give me 1 second. My sister's coming. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so instantly what I think of is my dominant hand is my right hand. So you kind of just have to think your right hand is more powerful than your left hand. If you're left-handed, I don't know how to explain this to you. It's basically opposite of what I'm telling you right now. But because it's my left hand is positive or greater than, I use it more. When I go like this, it's greater than, okay? If I'm going like this with my left hand, it's less than. So I look at the sign and I hold out my hand and I'm using my left hand on this one. So I know that this is going to be the less than sign / negative. It's basically saying this is negative. And remember, when it's asking, it's saying the cosecant. All this is saying is the cosecant is negative. So because the cosecant is negative, remember these two are already canceled out. You're working with these two. And in this box, the cosecant is positive because every single thing, sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, cotangent, all of them in this box are positive. It can't be this box because everything's positive. So this is the box you're using to draw your sketch. So now we're going to come over here. You're going to draw your sketch. It's going to look like this. This is how I would draw it. It kind of looks like it's about to be in the shape of this, but it's not. Ignore that. I drew that wrong. But basically that explains it for the other ones. But see, you just basically draw this. Like you're going like this kind of. But you're not. You're just drawing your arrow out like this. And instantly you want it to line up with the x-axis and the y-axis. So you have a line already on your y. And you want one to line up over here. And instantly you know that this is your theta. Because anything over in these areas, I don't know what they're called, but the corners, your theta goes in any of these corners when you're drawing your triangle. So instantly just know that. And your 90-degree angle goes in the other corner. Okay, now we figured out this. We figured that out. And now on here, he gave us it, which I think he will do that on the test too. So you don't have to worry about writing that. But the first thing you do is definitely you write this, your cotangent. And then remember, tangent is the reciprocal of cotangent. In this situation, it gives you the cotangent, so you flip this. So your answer for your tangent is 3/4. This is important because when you're filling this out, you're using SOHCAHTOA. You have heard this by now. SOHCAHTOA. What this is saying is sine is opposite. So the theta, anything that's across from the theta in this situation over here is your opposite side of the triangle. And then this, every single time the line going out is going to be your hypotenuse. And anything up here is whatever's left is your adjacent, basically. So like, let's say we're over here and your theta's here. Whatever's on this side over here is your opposite angle. That's important because when you're doing this, the SOHCAHTOA, you have to know that to get the answer correct. So what you're going to do is you're going to do for the, because we have the tangent figured out, you're going to look at tangent, which is T. Just know T tangent. So it just starts with it. C for cosine, and sine is this one. What this is saying is it's opposite over adjacent. So this up here is opposite, and this is your adjacent angle. So you're going to write 3/4. So opposite is going to be 3, and your adjacent is 4, okay? Now we have to find your hypotenuse in this section, which you're going to need another piece of paper to write all of this because it does get everywhere. So I would just have a piece of paper on the side ready to fill out in case. But I'm just going to take this random piece of paper I have and work with it to show you just how to explain this easier. So for this, you know that this is A or B. Both of these are A or B, and this is C. So we're going to write 3 squared because it's in the opposite side and adjacent side, plus 4 squared, you're doing your Pythagorean theorem, equals C squared, and just solve it. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 4 times 4 is 16, equals C squared. And then 9 plus 16, I would just use the calculator if you take a while like me. 25 equals C. That's not your final answer because you have to get rid of the squared, square root it. 5 equals C. So now we know our hypotenuse side. So this is 5. And I would just circle each of these so you stick to them. Now we can figure out our cosine and our sine. So for sine, you're looking at opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite, hypotenuse. So it's 3/5. And then the reciprocal of that is 5/3. So you know that your cosecant is the reciprocal of your sine. And then same with cosine. Cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent, hypotenuse. So it's going to be 4/5. And I'm trying to rush so my phone doesn't die. 4/5. And 5/4. Now, you are not done. Yes, you have your answers, but remember in the beginning how I said, because we're in this section, how everything but tangent and cotangent is negative? Everything but cotangent and tangent is negative. So when you're looking at this, when you're looking at your tangent and cotangent, those are going to be positive because over here we're in this angle on the sketch. So these are positive, but now you have to add a negative side to all of these or your answer is wrong. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Add a negative, 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 negative. And now you're done with this equation. You're going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to send you another video. I'm going to charge my phone, practice with number 15, and send me a video of you doing it, and I'll see if you did it correctly and check it for you. But yeah, I hope this helped you, and it's a very long video, but it goes into depth. So good luck on your test, and you got this.